Mr. Ncube, welcome back to the Ingqungqulu Yesizwe Productions Umdumo interview. Obviously, this is our 5th edition or 5th episode where we are looking at key issues that are taking place in Matebeleland or that are affecting Matebeleland. And last week, we looked at the state of land and how things are. So we would want to pick up on that aspect and engage our listeners who would watch this program and sort of pick up that theme further. And today I want us to just, quickly look at that bit that we left last week, but also towards the end, look at the issues around resources in Matebeleland. There seems to be, well, land is a resource, but also there are mineral resources that seem to cause a lot of problems for locals, and we need to explore that. So at one point we're talking about the traditional land, and at one point we're talking about the commercial land, and we're looking at the headmans or head crawls being some weakest links in terms of settling people in there without the knowledge of the chiefs and stuff like that. And you were on the case about these head crawls being bought by money to parcel out land in Matebeleland. Comments on that?
Okay, yes. My comment was that these headmen, some of them, the issue of money could be coming in. But the major problem is the empowered Mashona lender who comes in there and disrespects or disregards any arrangement that is there pertaining to the land. Some of them, they settle themselves forcibly so. So it's a problem. Even the blame that goes to the crawl heads and chiefs, it's only that they are also victims of the system. So we see a situation where the land that is used communally, even though people don't wholly own that land, is also under the control of people from Mashonaland. They feel like they are entitled. They've got that sense of entitlement that anything that is in Matebeleland through the vehicle of ZANU, it's theirs. They can come to you anyway, be it commercial or communal land, whatever resource, yes.
Which is a sad state of affairs, because that then destabilizes relations between communities, between nations, and it doesn't augur well for future stability in Matebeleland and beyond Matebeleland. But on the commercial aspects of land, since you really put it through that, there is this entitlement issue that's there, and we are saying that this power or this sanctioned sort of entitlement, people are using ZANU-PF as a vehicle to do that. And if we are looking at history, we look at ZAPU properties being taken, including farms of ZAPU. And there is a history of, we know that Dabengwa's farm was invaded at some point. We know that Sipho Malunga and Friends farm was invaded. We know that Moses Mzila's farm is intermittently invaded. And we know that during the land reform program, people managed to settle in farms. And actually in Mad South, I remember vividly, there was this farm called Maleme Farm, in which our people then, according to what the government is saying, okay, you need land, land is being taken for blacks, and people went in and settled there. They were, using that farm productively to cultivate, to feed their families and stuff like that. And yet we had someone from external to Matebeleland coming in to displace those people, to get them off the land and to settle themselves. So there is a pattern here, be it in traditional lands or in commercial lands. And people seem to be targeted to be dispossessed of this. What is your comment on
that? We are not surprised by that behavior. Remember that when Kukuraundi started, it's against the people of Matebeleland. Now ZANU has been used to veil that kind of thing, to cover up. It would appear that when you are in ZANU, everything is going to be okay. Checking now, after the Unity Accord, we are having those farms being taken away, the farms that you talk about. This is a program by a clueless government that is best at marginalizing Matebeleland. People like Mzila, these are war veterans, ex-freedom fighters, who actually fought for the land, while Mashonaland was not even talking about getting land. That's why they became friends with whites. They never bothered about the land. They wanted political power. Now that they achieved that political power, whether by hook or crook, now what they are doing is to say that the people of Matebeleland do not belong to their land in a way. You are in Matebeleland, but the land is said to belong to Mashonaland. Check the propaganda that will be out there. Government officials will be talking of people from Matebeleland as foreigners. And we have never had government officials rebuking them. Mnangagwa has never rebuked them. Ncube was one of those who talked ill of Matebeleland. No one rebuked him. You have heard Mutoti Mutswangwa, this wife of Chris Mtswangwa, saying things. And the silence of Mnangagwa speaks volumes. It actually tells you that this is something, it's their philosophy, it's their policy, the unwritten policy of making a Matebeleland to be irrelevant in Zimbabwe, where the land should belong to Mashonaland. Like you mentioned, the issue of peace. Nowhere in the world have things ended well, where you do this kind of behavior, you take people's land. The whites in Zimbabwe can tell you better what happened after they took the land in 1893 in Matebeleland and then 1890 in Mashonaland. So you do not take land from people and you expect it to be well forever. So it needs people that have got genuine leadership, true leaders, who will rebuke their subjects who are misbehaving. But now we see those leaders being the ones who are actually propelling this kind of thing. The dispossession of Matebeleland is not good even for Mashonaland. It can be good for a few individuals who are in power and their henchmen, but it's not good for sustained peace. Yes.
Yeah, so basically we are saying sustained peace is under threat between and among communities. And I think that's a sad situation. And it seems to be building up, as it were. But also of interest with the issues around traditional land. For example, traditional land under the custodian of chiefs, people coming in there, settling themselves, using carrot and stick, sometimes forcibly, sometimes they give people money, it seems. And then commercial land where, you know, the Maleme case is a case where actually it's a government policy to actually make an attempt to redress the colonial injustices and give people land. And then people have been settled there in the land. They are blacks, they are of Matebele, they are African, they deserve the land, as it were, because that's what the Liberation War was about. That's what the 1893 wars were about. That's what the 1896 wars were about. Now people have got that land. Now they've got to be removed by one black against the other. But of interest is this issue that the ZAP farms, the Dabengwa, Moses Mzila, and Sipho Malunga's farms they were not given out of land reform program. These were, as far as I'm aware, bought farms. So ZAPU bought those farms. They were not given by the government. Dabengo bought that farm. He was not given by the government. Moses Mzila, as far as I'm aware, bought that farm. Was not given by the government. Sipo and the friends, that is, I think they bought that farm. They were not given by the government. But here is a situation where then there seems to be a systematic, dispossession of blacks by other blacks of the land that it's been a policy of the liberation movement. It's been a policy of the Umvukela, the 1893 wars, the 1896 wars, and here we are today, black on black dispossession of land. What is the position of the Freedom Alliance on that?
Yes, our position is that the land should belong to the chiefs, traditional leaders. You don't take a car and you give to the chief while you are taking all his land. You are taking all his power. As far as we are concerned, politicians should be under chiefs who are the ones who have got all the power and the right to the land. Then these politicians get settled in the land that belongs to the chiefs. But now we have seen a government that says land belongs to politicians. Politicians that come and go. That is why we have a situation of ZANU leaders wanting to form dynasties. Whenever they become president, they want to be dynasties, they want to be like their chiefs. We are also worried as the Freedom Alliance to see chiefs who celebrate the cars and also ignore the fact that the land is taken away from them. Then there is commercial land, which should be the one that boosts the economy of the country. That land should be given to commercial entrepreneurs, people that have got entrepreneurial skills, people who want to run business, who will make the land to be productive. If we have got mining, we are looking for people that will do mining in such a way that is going to boost the economy of the country. So as the Freedom Alliance, we are very much opposed to what is happening in Zimbabwe, where the land has been made an issue of goose play, where when you are too excited, then you are having the land and you misuse the land whichever way you want. Not all land is for settlement. You can't have people, you take people, you settle them. Those people do not do any farming. We have seen some people who are in farms who are coming to Nkai to get some inyauti there to go and cook for their children. But those people are said to be having been resettling. Check now what is happening. You have heard of the loosening of these restrictive measures by America. Yeah. To us as the Freedom Alliance, we are skeptical. We know that there is something that America has seen, because the land is being taken away from blacks, which means that it's going to be taken back to the whites in a way. And we see the enthusiasm that is there in ZANU, in America and stuff. ZANU has always pretended that they stand with the people, and that is a lie. It's obvious, you can see it. You are dispossessing the chiefs, but you want to empower whites as it were. We are not against whites. We are saying property rights should be there. Let's have things done properly as per the constitution of the country. That is why we do not accept that fast track land distribution program, because it was a shame. It was just Ncube who wanted to keep himself in power. Yes, that's our position.
That's your position. And with the let me go back to the issues around chiefs, specifically from Matebeleland. And if you're looking at the theme of how the ground project is being done, and you're looking at the issues around land, traditional land, and how it is being messed about. And here we've got, and the most frightening thing is we've got this youth, which is the Matebeleland youth, which is outside the country, the majority of them. And soon, not any later, but soon, those people will be coming back, needing to have their land in their traditional areas. And lo and behold, they will find people in there who've settled in there. One can see some problems occurring there, or some tensions occurring there, because some people have come in, they've settled in there, they've used the head crawls and whatever, and that youth will be needing to come back to settle in Matebeleland, only to find that land has been taken. But also of importance, the chiefs in Matebeleland are leaderless, because in Matebeleland it seems, well, or historically, the chiefs cannot lead themselves. They need a king to be there to lead them, and a king to be the central power, the central figurehead, who then sort of coordinates what happens in Matebeleland. So what is the position of the Freedom Alliance on the restoration of the kingship and the kingship institution in order to try and manage these sort of situations, or at least have some influence in having a well-coordinated approach to these Matebeleland problems?
Yes, we are a restorative movement. We are saying that we should return to factory settings, where we had our kings. We had the king who had chiefs under him. Then the rest will come there. That is our position, and that means us having freedom to have that done. We are surprised by chiefs that will not demand to have their king, but chiefs that will be happy that they are now said, okay, go and pampering them to say, no, go and deal with the Kukurawundi issue. They will feel like they've been empowered, yet they are being misled by a misleading and deceitful government, as it were. So we need to have a situation where the king is there, he is having his land. Kings, if ever they've got kings in Mashonaland, or the spirit mediums in Mashonaland, they are also given their land. Back to the 1890 settings, before whites came to Mashonaland to capture Mashonaland and make it their protectorate, as it were. And in before 1893, when they came to take away Matebeleland, that's what we need. If ZANU stands for freedom, if ZANU stands for blacks, as it claims, it should be going to those settings. But what we are seeing is a situation where now the land belongs to the president. Who is a president? This is a concept from the West. People who say that they hate the West, they like the West so much. They are the people who, during the time of Ambi, they were busy smearing themselves with the Ambi to make themselves lie. People like Ncube and his henchmen, all those cronies closer to him, that's what they stand for. And it's surprising why people believe in such people. If the government of Zimbabwe is genuine, it should be getting to factory setting, where check in South Africa, if you go to KwaZulu-Natal, the king is having the land. He is having his subjects, they are having the land. But we have a situation 43 years, 44 years now, this is the 44th year, where you are having a government that does not attempt to remedy that. Even that land which they took, they were not taking the land. They wanted power, political power for ZANU. Now they are having that political power. That's why they will return the land to the whites, because they are having the power that they wanted. So this is shameful. It's embarrassing in Africa to see a government that can do like this. And you see people that support it. There are people, ex-ZIPRA people, ex-ZAPU people who are now in ZANU. They support that. ZAPU had an economic blueprint that was clear. They wanted land, their projects. What did ZANU do? They destroyed that because they are good at destroying. You see that kind of thing. So we are saying the land should go back to the rightful owners to the land. the land in Matebeleland should go back to the king. We should be allowed to have our own king. We have our chiefs that are empowered, who are not being told by someone from Mashonaland how they should run the land. Minerals are going because the people who are having power, we are under conquest. Matebeleland is still under conquest, just like it was during the whites. And the difference during the whites is that you could become a garden boy in Matebeleland, you could do some work, but now they've taken everything. Just look at what they are doing with Felapus.
Yeah.
Who in his right senses would think that all that is done that way will end well? It's not.
It's not going to end well.
Even a fool knows that.
Yeah. And you've touched on the Philabusi issue. I will come back to it. But I want to just quickly concentrate on the issue of the kingship. Why do you think an African black government fears the installation of a king in Matebeleland?
Yes, ZANU is so incensed with the power that it can even cut its tails and the genital, running to be in power. So it's about what they know is that if there is a king, a free king who is unfettered, who is unshakely, who is having his people, his culture is the culture of that nation is going to be restored. The culture of Matebeleland is going to be restored. And they are so much afraid of that. The fear that they have of Matebeleland is so scary. You know, they tremble and even they can even urinate on themselves, fearing a free Matebeleland, a Matebeleland that has got a king, a Matebeleland that is self-determined, a Matebeleland that decides what to do with its resources. They don't want that. They are like they will sleep hungry. Once Matebeleland is free, it means to them their bread will never be there as it were. Because we expect a government that will come and say, we are a government in the sense of the white, but we are having our chiefs who are having the resources, the land, they are running that. We run the political side of things, going to talk to Britain, your friends, you go to Russia. That should be the role of what ZANU should be doing, not what they are doing now. Dispossessing Matebeleland, destroying Matebeleland, weakening Matebeleland. As you alluded to the children of Matebeleland that are scattered all over the world, they will come back. What is going to happen? Check what whites did. Whites did in 1893, they conquered Matebeleland. They thought all was well. But guess what happened? Zipra came to them. They came hard on them. And they left on their own, as it were, no matter what happened. So even now, history has got a way of repeating itself. We need to be truthful, to be frank about this. No way where you disempower people, you conquer them, you take their resources, you think it's going to be forever. It's not going to happen. What people did to sit in Maluma, they thought they were done with Maluma. But now it's all there for me and you to see, or even for these genocides to see. Sipo is there now. Sipo is having his children. Sipo is having the whole of Matebeleland that identify with him, as it were. So how do you deal with that? It's like you cannot stop diarrhea by trying to knit or sew the rear opening. It's not going to work. You will have to cure the contents of the bowel, the contents of the stomach. That's what works. What they are doing is a temporal thing, and it will burst one day. And I tell you, the feces will be all over their faces.
All over their faces. But now that we know that the government has issued some statements saying that they are opposed to kingship, there is no thing around that. Apparently, the constitution doesn't, what fears would you have knowing the position that the government has, where in a situation when then the government changes its position and says, oh, we can accept a king from Matebeleland, what fears do you think would happen with that king? Would that king be a compromised king? Therefore, if they accept that, and because definitely it would appear that they wouldn't want someone who's probably a king who's going to be independent of them. Do you think there's a risk here that Matebeleland runs into having a puppet king?
Yeah, it will only be a decoy if government today to say they want a king. That will just be a decoy of a king that will be there so that ZANU will continue doing their wrong thing. They will just put in someone who is like, I don't know if a ceremonial king ever exists, but it will be a king that is there who will be on the script of ZANU, where you will be told that this one is your king. And they might not even allow the rightful king. They will want someone who will be subservient to them. You know, the tricks by Ncube is to put you in a position when you don't deserve to be there, so that you cannot stand against it. So the king, the danger, our fear is that there might be a king who is sort of a stooge that has been placed there. And it's going to be difficult. Remember that Mashonaland has never had a king. They had spirit medium. Now that they have become Christians, you wonder how they are going to have that. And that is a disadvantage to Matebeleland, because now we are yoked with it's a cow that is yoked with or some impala, and you want to plow. These people, they never had a king. A king to them is what they don't know. So now, when we are going to factory settings, I have never heard them talking about a king because they never had one. What they will think of is to have a spirit medium who is having some juju and all those kinds of things. Now, the trees that they used for juju, probably they've destroyed them. They've forgotten about that. So now, we are now at their mercy. Ncube never wanted any traditional thing. We are aware that he was Malawian. So now he never had any culture that he could practice in Zimbabwe. Then he brought suits, those safaris that were there. If you put on the traditional attire like what you are putting on, CIOs will be on you to say, why are you putting on this? And let me remind you, these people are very scared of seeing someone who is putting on armor badge. Just put on ibhedge uzihambele nje straight. Uvalo oluchaya abantu uyazibuza ukuthi why really? Why should people be afraid of that? And we have to be busy on necktie, like we are America, like we are Britain. Yeah. But in the background, you'll be busy saying, no, we are fighting for black empowerment. We are fighting for freedom. All that is lie. So the long and the short of it is that any king who is going to be installed by ZANU will be a disaster. It's like any chief who is installed by ZANU is a disaster.
So basically, whoever is, if this government accepts that, okay, yes, we accept you are a king, the risk is that that person would have terms detected to them, will be a decoy and maybe a stooge, and there will be written rules according to how they need to operate, which, I mean, if that's the case, then that will be meaningless, really, in terms of really the issues that we are tackling in around Matebeleland and the problems that we have, that at least a king can have influence in. But coming to the recent events, we've seen in what's happening in Philabusi, and apparently is to do with gold claims and the mining of gold and stuff like that. And we know that Matebeleland is rich in resources. You know, not that Mashonaland is in, but also is rich in resources like forests, gold, and other minerals. So there seems to be a pattern here that we're having in Matebeleland, mostly in Matebeleland, and I think some parts of Miklands. We've had a group of people who come to mine in these areas, forcibly take over gold deposits and mine, and then out of that, or displace locals. And out of that, people have died, they've been fighting and all that stuff. And it seems that this has been the case in Filabusi, and it's caused a lot of problems there. What are your thoughts on that?
The chief problem is ZANU, because it is ZANU that has told people that once you are ZANU, you can do anything, anywhere, as you like. Then ZANU will be in the background. What we see in Felabusi is the microcosm of the larger world that is in Matebeleland, where they will come do as they please. Whether it can be employment, that is government employment, whether it is in the private sector, where if you have your own company, they can tell you that employee Ningi, Ningi, and all that, even if you are from Matebeleland, you'll be forced to do that. So we are seeing something that tells you that they cannot even want a king, because if there was a king in Matebeleland, those guys were not going to be able to enter the king's territory like that. They are entering that territory because to them, it's ZANU territory. These people are victims of sustained propaganda. Since 1980, they've been told that Matebeleland belongs to Mashonale. There are people that, for example, someone will claim that is there anyone who can lay claim that they lived in Zwelabo, in Kai, for example, someone who is Mashonale? All that is a figment of their imagination, and they've transplanted that into the minds of their children, which is very wrong and dangerous. Because when you make people feel that they are entitled to something which belongs to others, and they are saying it is theirs, that's where you will see the behavior that we are seeing in therapies. How on earth can somebody in Kai move to Mzarabani and go and beat people in Mzarabani and kill them? And yet you are saying there is a government. There are police officers that are there. There are CIOs, there are soldiers, there is whoever. What is failing Mnangagwa and his government to deal with that? Why can't they deal with it decisively? You hold a peaceful political meeting. You are saying to people, vote for me. You will be arrested or killed the same day. When someone is going to kill people in their own area, where are these guys who kill people for doing the right thing? Why are they not standing up? You can see that they belong to those people that are in politics. They belong, it's the government that is sponsoring them, just like it is sponsored Kukuraun. You can't be a responsible government that allows people to move from Plumtree. You go to Uzumba Marambafungu. You start killing people in Uzumba Marambafungu and saying that you are mining there. You want to take a resource there. Where on earth do you find that? Where do you find that kind of stupidity? Can we say we've got a government if we've got such a government? This is very sad. It is silly. It is absurd. It is unreasonable. It is un-African. It is savage. No way can really describe it to the point of what it is.
Okay. And my next question was, and you've kind of like alluded to that the issue seems to be that these guys are very powerful. These particular groups that are doing these mining claims, they seem very powerful. They are a law unto themselves. And if ever they meet resistance from locals, they are able to call upon the state's support and backup. And what then happens is that the locals then are kind of like almost dealt with in terms of what's happening there. And from what we hear in Filabusi, if that's true, locals have run in different directions because the police have been called. The police allegedly are having a crackdown on people who are locals and saying, well, we've got someone here who's come in, he has been beating us up about something that's we're entitled to as the locals. Instead of them getting protection, it seems that it's a one-sided thing. And locals are actually getting even the brunt of, or maybe getting the brunt of the police as well.
Yes, in Matebeleland, when you go and report a crime, you are the one who is arrested. Let's suppose if you have seen this, ZANU-PF members will come and beat you up. You go to the police to report. You are the one who is going to be arrested. You can even serve a jail term. If you can think of opposition activists, the way they've been arrested, the police will be aware that these people are victims, but the victims are the ones that are arrested. You are a Kukurawundi victim, you talk about your experiences, you are the one who is arrested. So we see the same thing. What we need to ask ourselves, can you stand up today and have mining claims? The answer is no. People that get mining claims, there is an allegiance and affiliation that they have. They will come there as ZANU. And then when they get in there, that's why they will feel like they are invincible. They can get anywhere, do as they like. Do you remember the time when people were carrying in their cars, they would put the ZANU-PF flag, so that when they go to get petrol, they will get in there, even they skip the queue, you are not going to say anything. They get it to a roadblock. Even if they are overloaded, no police officer is going to make issue with them. So that tells you the danger of the culture that ZANU is inculcating in the society of Zimbabwe. Some people think that it favors them, but it is not sustainable. People do not think about the future of the country. We as the Freedom Alliance, we are deeply worried to say, where is this country going? For us, we have lost, our lives have been destroyed. But what of these children who will come? These children will be aware that there is someone who wants to live. He was called him Nangaka, he was called him Kabe, he was called Sitini Sekaramai. This is what they did. This is what they did to our parents. Do you think those children will accept that? And we need to be responsible citizens, responsible leaders who think of a future where our legacy is going to stand. People will stand and say, we wanted a leader who was this, whether he was a leader of ZANU, who did these good things, let's follow this leader. A leader whose quotes can be quoted to inspire the youth. But right now, you have got leaders who will say, we are the soldiers, we are the army, we are what? Who in their right senses, even in future, even after 100 years, will be quoting that. It will be taken as those embarrassing statements. So we have got those leaders. Since Ncube will tell you that, I remember when he was laughing, Tsvangirai has been abused by the police. You have a leader of government in the name of Ncube Matebeleland laughing at that. Isn't this a set joke? I wonder, even the members, followers of ZANU-PF, what do they think when they think about the future?
So that's a pretty much difficult situation. But as we wrap up this, so we've had about 5 episodes where we've looked at the state of politics in Matebeleland. We've looked at the issue of the genocide project that's being handled by the government and how it is handled about the government. We've looked at the state of education in Matebeleland. We've looked at the state of resources, state of land, state of mineral resources. And the common denominator seems to be, and we've also looked briefly at the issue of the kingship and stuff like that, and the denial of people having kingship in them. So you've said that Matebeleland is under conquest. That's a powerful term to use. It seems that in all this, or in all these factors, education, land, cultural or traditional aspects, resources, the people of Matebeleland do not have a say. Someone else has a say. You do not have a say in education and how your children have got to be educated. Someone has got a say. You don't have a say on your land, how you allocate your land. Someone has got to have a say. You don't have a say in the installation of your king or your own traditions and how you want to restore them, which is a beautiful thing, a beautiful African thing, which will enrich the existence. It does not disempower anyone from Mashonaland, be they Karanga, be they Zezuru, be they the installation of a Matebeleland king does not disempower them. It actually empowers everyone who is African, because it enriches the African culture, it enriches the Africanhood, it enriches Ubuntu. And therefore, it shouldn't be a threat. But it seems that it is a threat as we see it. Now, people of Matebeleland haven't got a say in that. Someone has got a say. And we've got this huge number of youths outside the country who will find that they've got no land to settle in. There are people around who are taking resources and they're not benefiting from those resources. There are no schools, the infrastructure is not there. Timber is not benefiting the locals. So basically, Matebeleland is a concentration camp, as it were. So in brief, what is the biggest thing that the people of Matebeleland should do to be able to undo?
We are having a huge challenge as the people of Matebeleland. We need to stand up. Like what is happening in Felapuzi, we should stand up as Matebeleland. Not only the people of Felapuzi, all of us. We as the Freedom Alliance, we are built in such a way that we are saying an injury to one is an injury to all. We need to stand up. We need to, and we can only do that when we are united. We need also to thin the lines between our political differences or political affiliations, and they say this is against Matebeleland. This is not against the Freedom Alliance, it's not against ZAPU, it's not only against UMD, it's not only against MRP, MLO, you name it, but it is against the existence of Matebeleland. So we need to stand up. When we are challenged, that is when we should even get more stronger than what we are or what we have been. So it's the ball that is in our court. Mashonaland is showing us that they are not playing with us, but they are actually annihilating us. They are actually obliterating us, our culture, everything, our economy, all is being destroyed. So if we watch, where are we gonna be? Where is the future of our children, the future of our great-grandchildren is gonna be? So we are saying, Matebeleland, stand up. It's either you stand or you sleep forever.
Thank you, Nhlanhla Moses Ncube. What a very engaging discussion and episodes that we've looked at, from the issue of the genocide, how it's handled by the government, the state of education, the state of land, and the state of minerals, and the issues around the culture in Matebeleland. And basically you saying that Matebeleland is under conquest. What a powerful statement. And thank you very much for us having had the side of the Freedom Alliance and how the Freedom Alliance thinks around these issues. It's been a captivating engagement, and we hope to engage in the future. The platform is for that. And it's been powerful to engage you as the Secretary General of the Freedom Alliance. And I hope that in the future we'll engage some of the leaders in the Freedom Alliance to put across their position. Thank you so much. It's been fantastic, and I wish you well.
You are welcome. Thank you.